Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. I'm interrupting my upload schedule, so don't worry Dark Angels players if you're still keeping up to date with the Codex analysis. That will still be tomorrow and I'll be back in the swing. I just want to talk about something today that bugs me, and it's just something that gets on my wick. And it's not a gaming thing. Well, it is, but it isn't. It's to do with sportsmanship. I mean, if you go now to your local gaming club, if you have one, or you go to a friend's house and you play, you hope that you will have a good game, close, lots of fun, lots of dramatic moments, and that's what we all love about 40k. It's got some dramatics, it's got some fun, it's got a little bit of everything. What we don't want is our opponents to behave like idiots, what we don't want is to behave like idiots, and what we don't want is to get screwed over. And sportsmanship comes into that a lot. So, let's take me. I am a seriously bad example of this. When I used to play with my orcs, I would get tabled semi-regularly. I would get beat a lot. My army was still not up to competitiveness. I was running a list that wasn't very take all comers, and I was running into marine walls and everything else, and I was just getting tabled. And I got into the bad habit of every time I lost half a squad of boys to mass bolter fire, I would just be really pissy about it. I'd be throwing my boys into the box instead of walking over and putting them in as a group. I would be really annoyed. Every time my dice wouldn't behave, I would get annoyed. And it became annoying, not just for me, because I wasn't having any fun in the game, but it meant my opponents weren't having any fun in the game. And that's something that really does annoy me now, because when I look back, I think, was I really that immature? Was I really that stupid? Did I actually act like that? And the sad answer is yes, I did. I acted like a total idiot. And all my friends, if you ever should happen to bump into one of them or find them on whatever site you use, they will tell you I was such a total asshole in the past when we were playing 40k. For example, I had my battle wagon rammed. I'd played my first game with my battle wagon. I just took it bare bones, put a squad of boys in it, and it got run into by a devilfish who had an incredible lucky series of rolls, blew it up. Blew it up. Well, actually no, he wrecked it, because this was before 6th edition, when you had the chance to kill it on a glance because it was open-topped, and it died, and I was livid. I lost all interest in that game from that point on because my shiny new battle wagon was dead. And that was really being a bad sport. That's not the only example of being a bad sport. The primary example that I can think of, besides just acting like a tool, is playing like a tool. I mean, let's say you're facing, I don't know, Grey Knights. I'm going to pick Grey Knights as an example. And you don't know them, you've never played them before, so you put down your Eldar army and say, right, let's play. X mission, X deployment, X whatever. And you start playing. And he says, right, I'm going to cast my psychic powers. So my Grey Knight Terminator squad is Mastery level 1, and it's going to use this power. And yet, perhaps later you think, that's a really OP power for a Terminator squad to have. And you look it up later, and you realise they don't have that power. They have Hammer Hand, which is just +1 strength in melee. And you think, that guy's cheated me. And this guy continues to do it. He fudges his dice rolls. He says his units are one thing when they're not. And it's not something I've really had to experience, but it really can be an irritant. If you realise that even if you won, that your opponent was cheating in order to get a half-decent result, it can drive you ballistic. And particularly with armies you don't know. If you know the Imperial Guard Codex, and your opponent comes up to you and says, right, my guardsman to BS4, no, guardsman to BS3, try again. You can correct them. The best thing I can say about this is you can ask to see the codex. Say, show me. Where does it say they can use this? And if they say, oh, it's in an FAQ, then show me the FAQ, otherwise use the book. That's the best thing I can do. You can negate cheating. If you're not sure, if it's a veteran and you're a newbie, I don't care. If I've been playing for 6 years, which I have, and some little kid is playing me at a tournament, which I don't do at tournaments, but that's not the point. If he's playing me at a tournament and I start fudging my rolls, for example, I say my Russ is BS5 and it's actually BS4 for having Knight Commander Pask in it, he says, are you sure? It's like, yeah, and I would have to show him. I would show him my codex and say it's not, and if I'm wrong, and I'll change my roll and I'll do it again. And that's something I've had to learn. I've I had a bad habit. I used to play fantasy, and we had a kid, and he was easily distracted. So the kid was doing something on his phone, and he'd wander off, and I would go and I'd do my hit rolls, and he'd wander off, and I'd pick an extra dice up, or 2 dice. If my rolls were horrendous, for example, my archers had got 10 hits when they should have had about 15, I'll pick up another 2 and I'll take 12. I used to do that. I don't do it anymore because, well, I've got more attentive opponents and I've grown up a lot. But it really does frustrate me now to look back at myself and realise how much of a douche I was, and to see other people. There's a whole thread on one of the forums that I've been on about tales of the worst games ever. Tales of people who would behave like idiots. For example, this one has to take the biscuit. Guy bought his brand new Riptide. Brand new Tau Riptide battlesuit, which then whiffed it. It fluffed up completely. And it took a couple of wounds from shooting. Then its ion gun overheated, he went to Nova Charge and it died. That Riptide was then thrown on the floor. I'm not kidding. This happened. And you just look at it and think, oh my god, how bad are people? And this is the worst example of sportsmanship ever. If your newfangled thing gets killed on turn 2 without doing any damage, take it in the spirit of the game. I'm doing an escalation video in 4 days' time on Monday. And in that, I'm going to talk slightly about this, about how if your Lord of War gets blown up, you take it in your stride, you just get on with it, and you don't behave like an idiot. And the same happens when you're winning. Let's say your Dark Eldar Death Star has just whopped through half a Marine army in 2 turns. It's gone smack and then smack, and it's done untold damage. What you should never ever do is say, oh, my unit is so badass, I'm kicking you into next week, and your army sucks. No. No, 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 no. You do not do this. You say, well, you don't really say anything. If your opponent is really dejected about this, say, it's alright, these things happen, perhaps the dice were just unlucky. You play nice. I know I sound like a whinging parent sometimes, but you play nice. You play to the game, and if the game trolls you, so be it. You go with it. You just have to go with it. You can't just say, right, okay, on turn 2 I've lost half my army, I quit. No. That's ruining a game for your opponent. It's ruining a game for yourself, which may turn into a real dramatic game as the remnants of your forces come back and stage a dramatic comeback and maybe nearly pinch it. I don't know. This could happen. It does happen. So, play the game. Play it through. If you're getting tabled, take it in good faith. Take it in your stride and say, well, today's not my day. I'll have another game against someone else, and maybe I'll do better. Or I'll come back and I'll have my revenge. This is what you have to do, and it's just about being a nice guy or nice girl or whatever else. Just be nice. So, just to sum up, if you think someone's fudging their rolls in their codex, i.e. saying something that has something, doesn't have it, or whatever, show me your codex. I don't care if they are 2 years more experienced, if they're 20 years more experienced than you. Ask. Don't be afraid of like, oh, he's a veteran, he must know. No. He's a veteran, so therefore he's trying to fudge it to make it look like the new guy is going to get tabled and make him look good. This is wrong. This is really wrong. So please, ask to see the codex. Ask to see the rulebook, or show him the rulebook as a clarification. And if he's questioning your decisions, say, hey, this is correct. Move on. If you are that guy, because we have all been that guy who messes with his dice or says something, does something when it actually doesn't do something, stop. Trust me, grow up a little bit. I've done it, and I've had to get out of that habit. So please, do the gaming community a favour. I'm not saying you bring disrespect to the community in the game, but it's not nice on your gaming group if you're going to behave like a tool like that. Trust me, I've done it, and I was not played that often as a result. And that's just it. Play nice. Play by the rules. If the rules say do something, do it. If the rules say don't do something, don't do it. If the rules are lying, well, they're not lying. You're making it up. That's all for today. I just wanted to get that off my chest because it's really bugging me, and, well, maybe you'll see that us people who vent about how amazing we are and everything else, we're talking crap. We're talking rubbish. So, just think about it. I've been an idiot, and I've had to learn from it, so you can as well. Be sure to leave any comments, tweet me at Tactica Imperial. I'll have my Dark Angels analysis video tomorrow. Thank you for watching if you're still here and not got bored. My name is Michael, and I will see you again.